employees of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, Sandra Doorley, employees of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Todd Baxter. My name is Chris Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I have been in jail 6 times, and 6 times a prosecutor has not talked in court. There is not one sentence. There is not one syllable. There is not one sound from these freaks and cowards. You, Deputy District Attorney Perry Duckles, know the names of these freaks and cowards. This is the payroll for the attorney's office. Tell me the names of these and cowards, Deputy District Attorney Perry Duckles, that are assigned to my court appearances. How is any citizen in jail when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court? Once. That's happened to me 6 times. Perry Duckles are paid $113,000 as a freak and as a coward in the district attorney's office to refuse to disclose these names. The public defender, Julie Siak, also refuses to disclose these names. My former public defenders, Mark Phillips and Regina Harper, refuse to disclose these names. The freak, the coward, is on here. Who is it? So, I'm going to show you a photograph. Michael Rather, Kathleen Miller, William Today, and Scott Alberti. For why your boss, Todd Baxter, doesn't know if he's a Democrat or Republican, is a freak and a coward. Sit right here. That's the high resolution cover photo. That's called a surveillance device. And the great Mike Pompeo, formerly of the Central Intelligence Agency, will tell you that's a surveillance device. And I was on it. You were lying about it because you know you can lie about it. Todd Baxter, Michael Rather, Scott Alberti, William Tadeo, Kathleen Miller. Is this not a surveillance device? Tell me it's not, because you already have. You should call Lindsay Barron, the Monroe County Office of Mental Health, to come to my residence at 26 Sanders from Drive in Benfield. Elliot Roth works this business. How many times do I have to ask you this, Elliot? I ask you. I demand information of the sheriff office and district attorney's office because you're not a taxpayer-supported public employee. Elliot, is this private technology on this building for your business called Consumer Insights? Or did these psychopaths, these freaks, and these cowards at the sheriff's office install it? Regina Harper, the public defender's office, sent me links. I actually saw myself on this fucking contraption when it was on the phone of the Monroe County Sheriff Office employee. When I tell a man named Steve Debs in a Broccoli tree in lawn care, nobody owns the land next to my residence, I walk back in my residence. Shannon Meyer, Todd Baxter's then $67,000 freaking coward, runs to my backyard, falls down on her face. 6 sheriff's office employees are there. I walk out to my front lawn. The handcuffs go on. They drive me downtown. I'm in a holding cell. Couldn't reach the urinal. Urinated on myself. This happened to me just for telling a man on his tractor nobody owns the land next to my residence. Timothy Murphy, the Monroe County Office of Real Property Tax Service, can't confirm anybody owns the land next to my residence. That's about 50 yards from where this fucking contraption is on your building, Elliot Roth. Is this private technology, Elliot Roth? Did the sheriff's office buy and install it? What's the answer? And open your registered mail. Return receipt from me. Lunatic French. Lunatic Fringe is you refusing to comply with Freedom of Information law, and I'm going to hold up. This is a couch I used to have where I lived on Pleasant Street in Rochester. I moved to Park Avenue. That's how many times the Freedom of Information law has been sent to you. I think there are 1,000, 2,000 documents. I don't know. I didn't count. Over and over again. And different parts of this loft that I was in where I would write the Freedom of Information law and put it in a place. It's a different place. So right here, over and over and over. That's the foil. I'm now going to hold up the foil. These documents here you have in your office. January 16, 2023, Todd Baxter, Sheriff 130 South Plymouth Avenue, Rochester, New York, 14604. This photograph is why you're a fanatic. This photograph is why you're an extremist. This photograph is why you're a liar. This photograph is why you know the name of your $67,000 disgusting hack, Shannon Meyer. This photograph is why people hate the police. Christopher Chichester, 620 Park Avenue, PNB number 361, Rochester, New York, 14604. Perry Duckles, eject yourself from corruption and fanaticism and mail the names of my prosecutor's silence to that address I just read. This is copy 2 Trinity Ross, United States Attorney, Western District, New York. These 2 hacks in Penford Town Court. Bald-headed wig-wearing Paul C. Metz for $28,000 salary. James Femeli Jr.'s $34,000 salary. Mark Phillips, Regina Harper again. Perry Douglas, Michael Rath. I don't hear anything. So that's why you're freaks and cowards using that technology upon me. Employees are constantly where they should not be, Todd Baxter, underwater in a pool. I demand to know if this is taxpayer dollars. These are your employees, was on your Facebook page. The response I get from you is a private event. I don't care if it's a private event. This is taxpayer dollars. Employees are where they're not supposed to be. Underwater in a pool. How ludicrous are you, Todd Baxter? Ludicrous is amusing or laughable through obvious absurdity, incongruity, exaggeration, eccentricity.
Ludicrous.
Ludicrous. That's what you are, Todd Baxter. Ludicrous is your employees underwater in a pool, you Benito Mussolini skinhead. Ludicrous is Ryan Fisher in Atlanta, Georgia. Todd, I'm going to tell you how to be corrupt. When you're corrupt, don't tell anybody about it. This is Ryan Fisher in Atlanta, Georgia. As we get ready to watch the Super Bowl, we are grateful to the men and women assigned to keep fans and players safe in Atlanta, including MCSO's own Deputy Ryan Fisher and K9 Local Deputy Fisher sent this photo from Atlanta, exclamation point. Thank you both for your service, exclamation point. You're really excited about your employee Ryan Fisher being 1,000+ miles away in Redneck Stars and Bars, Georgia. How much was the hotel? How much was the plane ticket? How much was the incidentals? Did he get a per diem? And the answer is yes. What is he doing in Atlanta, Georgia, where the Stars and Bars was not changed as the official state flag until 2003? This is ludicrous. He should always be in Monroe County. You hags and sociopaths. Sheriff's office. Don't send your employees out of Monroe County ever, like Corey Brown and Michael Fowler. Where were Corey Brown and Michael Fowler, Todd Baxter? Michael T. Fowler, you were paid $132,000, Todd Baxter. That's your salary set in statute. Michael Fowler's paid $163,877.48. 48 cents? How do you come up, you Benito Mussolini skinhead, with 48 cents for Michael T. Fowler, paid $31,000 more than you? Corey Brown, $155,366.64. How do you come up with 64 cents, you Benito Mussolini skinhead, Todd Baxter, for Corey Brown, paid $23,000 more than you? Saratoga, I believe, is the most beautiful county of the 62 counties in New York, and I've been to the track more than 100 times since I lived in Albany County. I love that county. I love Saratoga Lake. I love everything about Saratoga. And who wouldn't? That's why Carly Simon said you flew your Learjet up to Saratoga to see the total eclipse of the sun. Carly Simon understands how beautiful and how unique and how special Saratoga is. What are your employees doing in Saratoga? And you refuse to answer, Todd Baxter, because you're corrupt. You had the Undersheriff's Training Conference there, Todd Baxter. The cost of freedom of information, let's just January 18th. I'm going to hold up those foils. I sent you 70 on January 18th if you to comply with every single one, including my prosecutor's silence. Cost to taxpayers of Saratoga Springs, New York, for Sheriff Todd Baxter excludes expenditure of taxpayer dollars to attend the Undersheriff's Training Conference at the Gideon Putnam Hotel in Saratoga Springs. Is that why Corey Brown and Michael Fowler were in Saratoga? I don't know. I'm guessing. You tell me, you Benito Mussolini skinhead. Your two employees paid more money than you are in Saratoga, and why? Was it for this training conference? If it isn't, then what's the reason they're in Saratoga? Absolutely drenched in corruption, you sick hack, you nauseating, disgusting buffoon. 6 times I'm in jail, 6 times a prosecutor doesn't talk in court. My 50th birthday, July 4, 2015, I got a speeding ticket at my place of employment in Albany, New York, a speeding ticket at my place of employment in Washington, D.C., both dismissed when I went to court. 6 times I've been in jail, 6 times a prosecutor doesn't talk in court. They joke of you at the sheriff's office. Your own employees don't know what constitutes a crime, and that's why the district attorney's office employees have never talked in court, because they can't make an argument that I've committed a crime. You're convicting me on paper. Who's convicting me on paper, you corrupt, nauseating, sick hack? Perry Duckles? What are the names of my prosecutors? So, who is it? Who's the freak? Who's the sociopath? I have multiple freaks, multiple sociopaths. Who is it, Perry Duckles? Michelle Crowley, $131,416. Paid the same exact salary as Todd Baxter. I don't want to let you do a goddamn thing. Why'd you convene that grand jury when Michael C. Houlihan purged himself? You know what I'm talking about? I'm not going to go into that now because it'll take too much time. You're convening that grand jury, turning me into your personal ham sandwich when I don't know the grand jury's convened. I would have came in there. I would have testified. How did you pick these 18 to 24 anonymous idiots that you want to be anonymous idiots, Michelle Crowley? You should be disbarred, Michelle Crowley, which I will pursue. You're doing this to me. You're doing this to other citizens wielding that repulsive grand jury. So, as far as your employees being where they shouldn't be, it's just absolutely ludicrous. Taking a picture of the employees underwater in a pool. So, this documentation here has arrived in your office via Federal Express, UPS, registered mail return receipt with a green card comes back to me. This is beginning November 28th. 6 months prior to November 28th, I was also emailing you and using United States Postal Service, UPS, and FedEx upon you too. Comply with the attached PDF for the information law dated November 28, 2022, and mail the information you demand to the listed at the United Parcel Service. Christopher Childs, 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York. Corruptible, delusion, and denial, 0. Zero is called zero because you didn't comply with anything. November 20th, demand names by prosecutors arrived in your office. This is December 18th. This is called defiance. Language requires precision. You're just defiantly refusing to disclose the names of my prosecutors. I will seek the disbarment of every single one of these hacks, sociopaths, the Appellate Division, State Supreme Court, defiance. December 18th, Sandra, Todd, Baxter. When I show you a document that has your email address, it's also mailed to your office. Sandra Doorley, Todd, Baxter should look at this. Should, because I don't know. It's in your office, this document, over and over and over, because it's December 18th. Every document that I mailed in March and April, I include this one in it. Apply with the attached PDF dated December 18, 2022, that is 58 Freedom of Information Law documents. You will sign this documentation when it's dated December 20, December 22nd. Defiance. Again, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, Judge Alex Renzi. Which one of you hacks, sociopaths, decided to elevate me to Alex Renzi, who's over there at the hackocracy, where there are 18 Supreme Court justices? He's the supervising judge. He's the supervising hack. The prosecutor assigned to my appearance from, and who is it? He told me I was finished and done on my last appearance. That's not true. I'll be back in court again because all it takes is one of you hacks and sociopaths at that revolting shack at 47 South Fitzhugh to write the warrant. I'll be followed and tracked and stalked by these Benito Mussolini, psychopaths and fascists at the sheriff's office. You put the handcuffs on me. You know you can take me to the corrupt judge where you don't have to talk, and then I'll be in jail again. And then when it happens, I'll come back here. I'll say, I told you so. So who is it? Defiance. It's called defiance. Language requires precision because you're defiantly refusing to comply with the law, and you're defiantly refusing to disclose the names of my prosecutors. And so is the Monroe County Public Defender Julie Sianka and his subordinates, Public Defender Regina Harper and Public Defender Mark Phillips, and that's a disgrace upon each. So this is December 22nd. This is my 13 minutes. Apply with the attached PDF dated December 22nd, that is 67 Freedom of Information Law documents. You will sign this documentation December 24th, December 28th. I'm also demanding if you're using a taxpayer dollars to settle employment-related discrimination lawsuits under Title 7 of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, because I demand to know if there's sexual harassment at the Sheriff's Office and District Attorney's Office. I believe there is sexual harassment at the District Attorney's Office, Sheriff's Office, because you're animals. December 26th, the day after Christmas. You received in 24 to 40 hours via United Parcel Service 67 Freedom of Information Law documents dated December 26th. Documentation also mailed UPS to your office December 22nd. Foils attached. So you got a UPS. The foils attached. I'm demanding on December 26th the names of my prosecutors. January, February, March, 3 months later. Absolutely drenched in corruption. You are at the District Attorney's Office, refusing to disclose a name to me. It's a public proceeding supported by the taxpayer dollars. I'm not asking for confidential information about a case you're building against a real criminal. So, this is January 3rd, a week later. I'm going to get to January 1st before January 3rd because I emailed you, Perry Duckles, on this January 1st, right here. Not only you, Perry Duckles, this is Christopher Chichester1 at USA.com. At USA.com is a mail.com account that has limited recipients. This went to This bald-headed widow, Paul C. Metzer from Penfield Town Court at pmetzer@penfield.org, metzer.penfield@gmail.com, or private email, pdouglas@monroecounty.gov, Todd Thurston, monroecounty.gov, and Mark Phillips. Mark, when you looked at this, and you know I'm demanding names of my prosecutors, you just blow it off. Do you not understand the English language? Because there's YouTube links here, too. YouTube 61. It's called 61 here because there's 61 Freedom of Information Law documents, and 3 of them are the 4 I wrote: disclosure name I prosecuted for John P. Lomenzo Jr. in Penfield Town Court, disclosure name I prosecuted for Paul C. Metzer in Penfield Town Court, disclosure name I prosecutors in New York State Supreme Court, Alex Renzi. Mark Phillips at monroecounty.gov. How do you, Mark, look at this and just refuse to tell me the names of my prosecutors? And what is wrong with you, Mark? And you must know by now that I've lost total respect for you, because you're putting the screws to me just like these hacks and sociopaths. What is wrong with you, Mark? You know the names of these hacks and sociopaths. And your boss, Public Defender Julie Sianka, and Christina Harper at the Public Defender's Office are refusing to tell me these names, and that's insane. January 1, Perry Douglas. Attached PDF of 61-page Freedom of Information Law document dated December 20th, 2022 that arrived in your office via UPS. This documentation also arrived December 22nd, December 26th via UPS. It was tracked. You have it. Print each, bring to your corrupt boss, Sandra, Doorley, tells pathetic inclinations and health afflictions, sending information by UPS address below. It includes the names of my prosecutor silence. What's not to understand? I've demanded names of my prosecutor silence for 18 months. Insane. You're insane to refuse to disclose the names of my prosecutor silence for public proceeding. January 3rd. You need to read The Elements of Style, District Attorney's Office, Sheriff's Office by E.B. White, Longstrunk Jr., so you can understand English language. January 3rd, comply with the attached PDF dated January 3rd. That is 66 Freedom of Information Law documents. The attached PDF arrived in the Office of the United States Postal Service. YouTube amoral. Amoral because you're violently attacking me before I'm depositing in front of the corrupt judge. And January 5th, here's all your emails. I only use the email once so you can't block me. Apply with the attached PDF dated January 5th, 2023. There's 66 Freedom of Information Law documents. This attached PDF will arrive in your office via United Postal Service tomorrow. Mail the information on the address below. This includes the names of my prosecutor silence. It's called accountability. What's the problem in Jonestown? The problem in Jonestown is corrupt. The problem in Jonestown is drinking Kool-Aid. So, this is January 22nd. Perjurer, $73,000 Michael C. Houlihan, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Violence, Sheriff Todd Baxter, and $75,000 Richard J. Seaman. This is in your office. I'm telling you, Richard J. Seaman walked into the Penfield Public Library. I stood up at the computer. Seaman runs at me, extends his arm like this. Seaman slams his arm to the side of my head. It's the force of Richard J. Seaman's arm hitting me in the head. I fell backwards and then my head slammed down on a ceramic tile. Richard J. Seaman, all right, assault complaint about him. Richard J. Seaman, 1, won't be arrested. 2, won't be prosecuted. And most importantly, 3, won't be fired. Because you, Todd Baxter, embrace violence. Just like your violent psychopath who attacked me at the pharmacy entrance to Wegmans when your 5 Beagles and 10 fellow psychopaths arrived for me. Yet the Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee got up his vehicle, ran at me, and knocked me down right in front of the pharmacy entrance. He drove his shoulder into my hip and knocked me down. Then he briefly sat on me. He wanted to attack me because he knows my identity, because he's seen me on YouTube. Your employees talked about violently attacking me that day because your employees, Todd K. Baxter, are common thugs and criminals. Perjurer, Michael C. Houlihan. I leave my residence 2 years ago. Walk alongside my residence, 26 Sanders Farm Drive in Penfield. Michael C. Houlihan, Sheriff Todd Baxter, $73,000 freak, and Don Benedetto, Sheriff Todd Baxter's $85,000 freak, come running at me. I've said this over and over and over now. When I turn to run away, I never stop running. If I never stop running, I can't swing a hammer at Perjurer, Michael C. Houlihan. So I run along back to my back porch. I place my foot on the first of 3 steps. I grab a hammer before I get to the back porch. Michael C. Houlihan grabs my arm. The hammer goes up. I pull away and run through the sliding glass door. On the body camera footage of Michael C. Houlihan or Don Benedetto, I say, fuck you. I never stop running. You, Michelle Crowley, convened the grand jury. Michael C. Houlihan states to the grand jury, I swung a hammer at him. That's when he perjures himself. I ran the whole time. If I stopped running, psychopaths, Don Benedetto, Michael C. Houlihan would have ran right into me. What's not to understand, Michelle Crowley? Why didn't you call me to the grand jury, you nauseating, repulsive hack, transforming me into your personal ham sandwich, and you should be disbarred, which is what I'm going to pursue for you too, along with your boss, Sandra Doorley. So, violence, Richard J. Seaman, Michael C. Houlihan. And here is the foil on this January 18th while demanding the name and charge of all your inmates at Monroe County Jail, because you don't separate the violent inmates from the non-violent inmates. So this is January 18th. I'm going to read this again. The documentation for the case for Christopher Child, John P. Menzer Jr., and Pat Fatah Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? Is this Julian or is this not Julian, Perry Douglas? If it's not Julian, it's Monroe County Court who didn't win. Who is it? Who's the female prosecutor who stood there in total silence before this pedophile protection racket of Dane Blouse III, that's 70-year-old John P. Menzer Jr., and didn't talk as I'm delivered to jail? You know the name. This is why you're corrupt. This is the 5'2" three-piece suit boy. Regina Harper, the public defender's office. You copied on here. Quote, the prosecutor was not backing down. This is him. This is the boy. Regina, who is it? Public defender Julian Siaka. Who is it? Assistant public defender Mark Phillips. Who is it? What's this boy's name? Documentation for the case of Christopher Child, Paul C. Metz from Pampton Court. What is the name? Prosecutor Sandra Doorley, January 18th. February, March. 2+ months later. This is corruption here. Documentation for January 18th. Documentation for the case of Christopher Child, New York State Supreme Court for Alex Renzi. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? The prosecutors, I had 2 females behind me, I believe, but I could be incorrect. If I have one prosecutor, I have one prosecutor. If I have 2 and they're females, they're the ones standing behind me before this $208,000 fossil, Alex Renzi, who absolutely has no idea what's going on. He doesn't know anything about my contact charge, which I said to him. I said to him, you have no idea the facts and circumstances of any single one of these charges before me. And here he is up on this 20 or 30-foot high bench looking down at me like I'm his personal peon. And when I said to him, you don't know anything, he doesn't say anything to me. Do you know why? Because he wants to wallow in ignorance, Alex Renzi. Just like you do with the district attorney's office and sheriff's office. So, the perfect 2-word sentence to describe you to the sheriff's office and district attorney's office is right here on January 24th. You're freaks. Where it says, comply with attached PDF dated January 24th that is 70 Freedom of Information Law documents. This attached PDF will arrive at your office via registered mail return receipt, United Postal Service tomorrow. Mail the information I demand, the address below. This includes the names on prosecutor's silence. Again, about $73,000 Michael C. Houlihan. I don't hear anything from you. Is it a crime to take all the personal possessions out of a residence and bring all the personal possessions of a citizen to a storage locker without a court order? Because I'm going to get to that momentarily after February 5th. YouTube information at District Attorney Sandra and Sheriff Todd Baxter. Comply with the attached Freedom of Information Law document. Mail the names of prosecutors signed to my court appearance. The address below in Rochester, New York, February 5th. What is wrong with you, Perry Douglas? What is wrong with you, Michelle Crowley? What's wrong with you, Mark Monahan? I have prosecutors. What are their names? It is insane for you to refuse to disclose the names of my prosecutors in public proceeding. It is ludicrous.
Ludicrous.
Refuse to disclose the names of my prosecutors. This is one of the hardest emails I've ever had to write to my ex-girlfriend, Laura Riley, who I've known for 35 years. She's just refused to tell me what happened to my eviction. Well, I'm being evicted when I'm in Livingston County Jail in Geneseo. That's what's happening to me. She's taken all my things out of my residence. I don't know this happening. The front door lock has been changed. The spare key I had on the back porch has been removed. Anthony Spano, Fairport, New York, did this to me with this illegal eviction. When I write the criminal complaint about him, he will not be prosecuted or arrested because you'll conclude he's an 80-year-old man. You can't prosecute, you can't arrest an 80-year-old man. And then when that happens, I'm going to say, I told you this was going to happen. This is my ex-girlfriend, Laura Riley. Tell me what happened with my illegal eviction. My illegal eviction, you participated in refusing to answer questions about. The law requires a court order to remove my personal possession from 26 Sandra from Drive, Benton, New York, to a storage locker in Webster, New York. You know the fact about the law? You left possessions in residence. What has happened to me is insane. Just because I don't have a lease, I didn't have a lease for the entire time, the 8 years I lived in Penn from 2012 to 2020, doesn't mean my landlords, Giuseppe Spano, the 47-year-old dead son, and his father, Antonino Spano, could smash me into a million little pieces. And from what I've been told by the Tenant Defense Project and my own research, tenants with a lease and tenants without a lease are still protected. They're different. They can't obliterate my life and remove my possessions without a court order, and that's what happened to me. doesn't matter to you. And the reason why this happened to me is because you had sociopaths, blue wall silence. Richard J. Seaman, attacking Penn Public Library. I know his name for the assault complaint. I do not know the name of the anonymous freak at the sheriff's office that attacked me at the pharmacy entrance to Wegmans. Your female employee with the Marine-style haircut and tattoos, Todd Baxter, knows the identity of this violent psychopath that attacked me with your 5 vehicles, your 10-plus violent psychopaths there. Blue wall silence. I'm telling you here in blue wall silence, going to be violently attacked by Richard J. Seaman at the library at Wegmans. It does not matter to you. The most ridiculous cop cliche there is. Todd Baxter. So again, misconduct, Michelle Crowley, February 12th. Misconduct, a chief of the grand jury, Michelle Crowley. It's misconduct because you have Michael C. Houlihan in front of the grand jury, these 18 to 24 anonymous idiots that you picked. And I don't know the grand jury's convened. And you don't call me to the grand jury. Why, Michelle Crowley? It's because you're corrupt. That's why. What is wrong with you? Why didn't you interview me? Why didn't you call me? You know nothing. You know absolutely nothing about this sick night with Michael C. Houlihan and Don Benedetto. And you want to indict me because you're corrupt, because you're a fanatic, because you have a darkness in the heart, Michelle Crowley. So, and you know that these grand juries are malleable. If you get them to believe whatever you want to believe. When someone purges himself for a grand jury, like Michael C. Houlihan, saying I swung a hammer at him when I ran forward the whole time, they're going to believe him. Because you want these people to be morons and idiots and stooges, Michelle Crowley. Because morons, idiots, and stooges can indict anybody. February 14th, zealous District Attorney Sandra, Sheriff Todd Baxter, Judge Alex Renzi, misconduct. Your boss has this in her office again, misconduct, Michelle Crowley. Fleeced. Sheriff Todd Baxter sends $155,000 Corey Brown, $163,000 Michael Fowler to Saratoga. An absolute total sick disgrace. For these employees paid $20,000 plus more than you, Todd Baxter, to be in Saratoga. How much was the trip, the hotel, the plane if they flew, the per diem for the driving if they drove, the incidentals? What's the cost of this trip? You disgusting, sickening cretin, Todd Baxter, with your employees out of Monroe County and Saratoga. So, everything that started to happen to me began with this freak Shannon Meyer warrant for my arrest for walk through a parking lot I've walked through 4,000 times. You know what that is? A warrant for my arrest for a parking lot I've walked through 4,000 times. Employees of the sheriff's office.
Ludicrous.
Do I even have to say it? It's ludicrous. Read the attached PDF, freedom of information law, collide with the PDF that's freedom of information will disclose the names of prosecutor's silence and resign. Sheriff Todd Baxter, $16,000 pay raise freak, 83-291-42 Shannon M. Meyer, the nightmare cop for every citizen in Monroe County. Call her into your office, you Benito Mussolini skinhead Todd Baxter, and ask her why she wrote a warrant for my arrest for walking through this parking lot 4,000 times, but not anybody else in Pennsylvania, New York, not anybody else in Monroe County, not anybody else of the 17 million in the entire state of New York. Where's my 14th Amendment right, the equal protection laws, when I'm the only citizen to be arrested for walking through this parking lot? Nightmare cop. The nightmare cop for every citizen in Monroe County. So, February 17th, again, sickness. The sickness of you at the district attorney's office prosecuting me in total silence and then refusing to disclose these names. Here's all your names here, a different email I used. The email is always different, like this one's going to be February 17th. Read the attached PDF documents, disclose the names by prosecutor silence, mail the names by prosecutor silence, the address below, resign, Christopher Childress, 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York. So Perry Douglas, I contact you on that January 1, 2023. And then here I am again. Answers at First District Assistant District Attorney Perry Douglas of Monroe County District Attorney's Office. The answers. This is my question, Perry Douglas, and the answer. You have the answer. That's why it's called answers. You have the answers, you corrupt, sickening hack. The question is, what are the names of my prosecutors? Answers at Perry Douglas. You know the names. What are their names? So, February 19th, here, Vice District Attorney Sandra, Todd Baxter, Alex Renzi. Answers again, it's Vice 6 times in jail, 6 times a prosecutor has to talk to court. I do not know the names of these freaks and sociopaths and hacks and fanatics that are doing this to me. Vice, your entire existence, that repulsive shack, district attorney's office, is vice. So, I'll follow that up. On the 20th here, one judge. You know you can deposit me in front of one corrupt judge, Paul C. Metzer, Pampton Court, John P. Metzer Jr., Pampton Court, Alex Renzi, supervising judge of the New York State Supreme Court. All it takes is one judge. We don't have to talk. That's why this is called one judge. State legislature in Albany, where I lived and worked for 10 plus years, he's changed this law that allows one judge to determine guilt or innocence. That's a prescription for hatred, a hatred of the human being, to allow one judge to determine guilt or innocence, from Montauk to Buffalo and everywhere in between this great state of New York, for one judge to determine guilt or innocence. That's insane. One judge. Corruption, Todd, Baxter, Sandra, Doorley, YouTube, former Monroe County Public Defender, Mark Phillips, and Virginia Harper. February 20th, I'm telling Mark Phillips and Virginia Harper to tell me the names of these prosecutors' silence, and they're refusing. And here it is again to them. February 24th, what is wrong with you, Mark and Virginia? What the fuck is wrong with you? February 21st, 2023, Virginia Harper, Monroe County Public Defender's Office, 10 North 50th Street, Rochester, New York. Mark Phillips, Monroe County Public Defender's Office, 10 North 50th Street, New York. Melvin names my prosecutors. The address below 620 Park Avenue, Rochester, New York. For Virginia Harper, Mark Phillips, Monroe County Public Defender's Office. One judge again. I hope you know that I once had respect for you. And when I'm telling you to disclose the names of my prosecutors, you're refusing over and over and over, I no longer have respect for you. And I have absolute contempt for you. It's not information you don't have. You can't disclose to me. You have it. You know the names. Quote, the prosecutor's not backing down. You know the name of this boy because you've talked to the district attorney's office about me. Mark Phillips, Regina Harper. There has to be dialogue. Insane. What's the name of this here? Insane. District Attorney Sandra, Sheriff Todd, Baxter, Alex Renzi. Insane on February 22nd. You received Federal Express, the attached PDF that has freedom of information, will disclose the names of prosecutors resign. Insane's one judge. Again, Public Defender Virginia Harper, Mark Phillips. Insane. It's insane if you refuse to disclose the names of prosecutors' silence. I will take a cover letter after I send the email, and then I'll attach the links that I've previously done, which is February 22nd, disclose the names of prosecutors' silence. This is in your office. You have this. How do you Sandra Doorley? How do you Perry Douglas? Look at this where it says on February 22nd, disclose the names of prosecutors' silence. My address here, Christopher Chichester, 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York, and refuse. It's because you're corrupt. That's why. I have never in my life, my long life of 57 years, ever encountered, experienced the hatred of the heart and mind that is you in that repulsive district attorney's office and sheriff's office. You're drenched in hatred and you don't know it. Elliot Spitzer, to this day, 15 years since he resigned in disgrace on March 13, 2008, still doesn't know he's corrupt. Sandra Doorley will never know she's corrupt. Todd Baxter will never know he's corrupt. Alex Renzi will never know he's corrupt. Paul C. Metzer, John P. Metzer Jr., James P. Jr. will never know they're corrupt. I'm telling you to disclose the names of my prosecutors over and over and over for 18 months using the legally binding document that's a Freedom of Information law, and you're refusing every time. So, because you're freaks. Freaks, February 26, 2023, 11:49 p.m. February 26th, mail names are prosecutor signed by court appearance, the address below 620 Park Avenue, Rochester, New York. We detached Freedom of Information law document that was sent to the United States Attorney, Western District of New York, Trini Ross resigned. I'm sending this to Miss Ross. I think she's received documentation from me now 10 times in the last 6 months. Where she can see this. This is in the office of the United States Attorney in Buffalo, Trini Ross. Where she can see, I'm telling you hacks and sociopaths to tell me the names of my prosecutors. You know why you're hacks and sociopaths? Coming to my residence, demand my little guy. I'm not going to talk about that because I have to talk about it for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, takes too much out of me. I was able to adopt my little guy, Lollipop Farm Humane Society, a Shih Tzu, Because when I was asked the question, have I ever been arrested? Along with my ex-girlfriend, Laura Riley, our answer was no. If I answered yes to this question, I never would have been able to without my little guy. People love the dogs with their heart and souls. I'm not special. I never would have had 8 years of joy with him. And when I go back to a dog adoption society, when I move to Albany, I'll be turned down and refused because I'll look into my background. I will have to say I've been arrested when I'm asked that question. And the facts and circumstances of you hacks and sociopaths, the district attorney's office and sheriff's office destroying my life won't matter to a dog adoption society. So, this is on February 26th, the link here. Former County Public Defender Julie Sianka identifying my prosecutor's silence. $413,000 first District Attorney Barry Douglas identifying my prosecutor's silence and freaks. What is wrong with you, Public Defender Julie Sianka? I'm not asking that rhetorically. There's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with that addled brain. Were you sick the day they taught law school, Monroe County Public Defender Julie Sianka? So, insane. That's the March 28th insane. It just does not matter to hacks and sociopaths that I have civil and constitutional rights. There's more documentation in there, but I'm not going to read it because it would take so long. Take too long. Payroll for the district attorney's office. Who is it? Perry Douglas. Who is it? Who are the prosecutors of silence? Perry Douglas. Who are the prosecutors of silence? Public defender Julie Sianka. Who are the prosecutors of silence? Assistant public defender Mark Phillips. Who are the prosecutors of silence? Assistant public defender Regina Harper. So, Ryan Fisher's in Atlanta, Georgia. Todd Baxter. Ryan Fisher's in Atlanta, Georgia. Todd Baxter. Why? You know the answer? Why your employee Ryan Fisher is in Atlanta, Georgia? How much was the cost of that trip? Ryan Fisher to go to Atlanta, Georgia. Where this was the flag. The hate symbol of Georgia is where Ryan Fisher, Monroe County Sheriff Office employee is. Ridiculous. You got Michael Fowler, Corey Brown in Saratoga. So Ryan Fisher's in Atlanta, Georgia, where he's not supposed to be. Corey Brown and Michael Fowler in Saratoga, where they're not supposed to be. You got your employees underwater in a pool, you Benito Mussolini skinhead. You're buying this fucking contraption for me to nail me to the wall for a parking lot I've walked through 4,000 times. Again, corruption requires repetition. When I repeat things, it's because you're corrupt. It has an assigned number called an ICN number. Regina Harper sent me the links. Is this private technology you wielding upon me? Did you buy it and fix it for me? You refuse to answer. So, this is the Freedom of Information Law. On the last one I'm going to read 3 foils from these dates. When I get to the final package, because each one has 70, this begins on December 14th. What I'm going to read when I get to the final ones is 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to hold up 5 of these. On the 5th one, the 3 foils I'm going to read are in every one. December 14th. Psychopaths like the color red. That's why that's in red. December 14th. December 28th. January 10th. I'm demanding contracting in the district attorney's office. January 28th, copy of the private health care records delivered to $28,000 penalty town court Judge Paul C. Metz by Sheriff Todd Baxter, Monroe County in violation of the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996, HIPAA. You gave my private health care records to Paul C. Metz with Todd Baxter in violation of federal law. I'm not going to talk about that now. Think about the best possible lie for what you can tell the United States Congress when I contact them. So, in every single one of those foils with those dates, this is January 5th. The names of my prosecutors. January 5th, January, February, March. Julie Sianka, you know the answer to this question. Julie Sianka, Christopher.Chichester@mail.com. Christopher.Chichester@mail.com. Public Defender Julie Sianka. Answer this foil. I will read 3 and send me the names. Documentation for the case for Christopher Chichester or John P. Lenz Jr. Town Court. What is the name of the prosecutor? Sandra Doorley. Is that Julie Hahn? Is that not Julie Hahn? Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester for Paul St. Metropolitan Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra? Quote, the prosecutor not backing down. 5'2" 3-piece suit boy. What's his name? Public defender Julie Sianka. My last appearance before Alex Renzi, I was told I'm finished and done, which is not true because you hacks and sociopaths, Perry Douglas, the district attorney's office, will concoct a warrant for me. I'll be filed and stalked and tracked by the sheriff's office employees who take me to the corrupt judge. I'll be declared guilty, and then I'm going to languish in jail again. When it happens, I'll come back here to YouTube. I'll say I told you so. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester, New York State Supreme Court, Alex Renzi. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? The prosecutor, in his appearance for me, forced me into Alex Renzi when I'm at my temporary address, 70 Liberty Pole Way, and there I am in Monroe County Jail. When this prosecutor knows he or she doesn't have to talk in court. The two females behind me, when he said I was finished and done, district attorney's employees are not. If they're not, then who's the prosecutor forcing me into Alex Renzi? Who's the prosecutor that has my case before Alex Renzi? You nauseating fucking hack, Perry Douglas, and tell me the answer. Cops use profanity in the United States of America, employees of the sheriff's office and district attorney's office. There's no profession in the United States of America, perhaps the military exceeds it, but cops use profanity all day long. Do you understand how it works in the United States of America with the cops? I have never seen hatred in the United States in my long life for the police like I do now. You know what justice is about? Employees of the district attorney's office, sheriff's office, public defender's office, it's about money. If I had money, I never would have spent one goddamn day in jail. Every now and again, you get to be a part of justice being done, and that's really quite a thrill when that happens. Tom Hanks in Philadelphia, I've quoted that repeatedly when I've been on it, because I love that quote. I'm not sure I agree with it. I'm trying to agree with it, because I'm in the pursuit of justice. What are the names of my prosecutors? Silence. Perry Douglas of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, Public Defender Julie Sianka. You refuse to disclose these names, and that's why you're corrupt. My name is Christopher Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I have never committed a crime.